In a world where power and privilege often dilute accountability, one CEO's audacious declaration shocked the courtroom. "Rules don't apply to me." This bold assertion sent ripples of disbelief through the assembled crowd, setting the stage for an unforgettable showdown between arrogance and justice. It was just another seemingly ordinary day at the court, alive with the familiar sounds of shuffling papers and murmured whispers, but tension hung in the air like a storm cloud ready to burst. Judge Frank Caprio, known for his fairness, unexpected wisdom, and at times lightheartedness, sat poised behind his bench, ready to preside over yet another day of justice. The defendant, a high-profile CEO known for his business acumen and extravagant lifestyle, strutted into the courtroom with an air of confidence that reeked of entitlement. Dressed in an expertly tailored suit and flaunting a wristwatch that could feed a family for a month, he believed that his wealth and status formed an impenetrable shield against the consequences of his actions. His every movement exuded the belief that he was above the law, a notion that Judge Caprio would soon challenge. As the judge called the case, the courtroom went silent, all eyes fixed on the high-powered executive who had so carelessly dismissed the ramifications of his decisions. The atmosphere buzzed with anticipation as Judge Caprio began to lay out the details of the multiple parking violations that the defendant had accumulated. Each ticket was not just a fine, but a glaring representation of his blatant disregard for rules that the average citizen respected. With each infraction read aloud, the disbelief in the room grew. How could someone so prominent think themselves above the law that governed everyone else? Judge Caprio, renowned for his fair and empathetic approach to justice, leaned forward, his gaze fixed intently on the CEO. "You understand that these rules were put in place not just to punish, but to maintain order and accountability in our society," he began, calmly yet firmly. He detailed how every decision, no matter how minor it seemed, had broader implications. "We all have a responsibility to contribute to a community where everyone is treated equally, and that means following the same rules," he asserted, his voice rising in intensity as he made his point. The CEO, undeterred, retorted with an arrogance that shocked the spectators. "Look around, Judge. People like me, successful, influential individuals, don't have to worry about these trivialities. I'm running a company that employs thousands." His dismissive attitude was punctuated with a wave of his hand, as if shooing away the very concept of accountability. But Judge Caprio's expression shifted from one of calm to resolve. "Let me remind you, sir, that every leader sets a tone for their organization. If you disregard the very rules that keep your community safe and orderly, what message does that send to your employees and your clients?" His words struck a chord, echoing in the minds of the onlookers, reminding them that true leadership doesn't come from power or wealth, but from integrity and respect for the law. With each passing moment, Judge Caprio skillfully navigated the conversation, using logic combined with life lessons that transcended the courtroom walls. He spoke not only as a judge, but as a mentor, urging the CEO to reflect on the example he was setting and the damage he could cause if he continued down this path. The law is not meant to be a guideline for the less fortunate. It's a foundation for everyone, he insisted, signaling that the consequences of privilege could ripple far beyond the individual. As the hearing progressed, the CEO's bravado began to falter under the weight of Judge Caprio's words. It became clear that the courtroom was not just a place of punishment, but a space for growth and learning. In that moment, the CEO was confronted not just with fines and penalties, but with the opportunity for genuine reflection on his morals and values. In a world so often clouded by the disparities between the powerful and the everyday citizen, Judge Caprio stood as a beacon of accountability. He may have been in a judicial robe, but in reality, he was a reminder that regardless of status, we are all subject to the same essential rules that bind society together. The courtroom buzzed as Judge Caprio prepared to deliver a ruling that would resonate well beyond this one encounter. Proving that justice was far more complex than a simple set of laws. It was about respect, integrity, and the commitment to uphold the ideals we all share. The case revolved around a series of parking violations that the CEO had accumulated over time, a troubling narrative that underscored his complete disregard for the rules that every other citizen was expected to follow. Each ticket was not just a slip of paper. It represented a mentality rooted in entitlement, where the consequences of wrongdoing could be brushed aside with a wave of his hand. As Judge Caprio meticulously read through the details of the case, the quiet murmurs of the crowd turned into a chorus of disbelief and indignation. How could someone so prominent, someone lauded in business circles, truly believe they were above the law? As the courtroom filled with anticipation, Judge Caprio's calm demeanor radiated authority. He understood the importance of this moment, not just for the CEO standing before him, but for the many individuals present who had witnessed the erosion of accountability. With a deliberate tone, the judge addressed the CEO, steering the conversation toward the ramifications of his actions. These violations may seem minor, Caprio began, but they signify a profound lack of respect for the laws that govern us all. If these infractions are left unchecked, they can pave the way for further disregard for the rules that bind us as a society. The judge paused, allowing his words to sink in. He continued earnestly, "You, sir, are in a unique position to set an example for your employees, your community, and those who look up to you. Your actions matter, and your choices have consequences." The courtroom fell silent, anticipating the CEO's response. Yet the air was thick with tension as they awaited a rebuttal. The CEO, wearing an expensive suit and a confident smirk, responded with surprising nonchalance. "Judge, with all due respect, I don't think you understand the world I live in. My wealth justifies my actions. These rules are for ordinary people. I run a company that employs hundreds. This is just a trivial matter." His dismissive arrogance echoed off the walls, creating a palpable tension in the room. This attitude only served to rile Judge Caprio further. His eyes narrowed slightly, betraying his frustration. "Trivial matter, you say? Let's not be fooled by appearances. The law applies to everyone, no exceptions. It's not just about you. It's about everyone who shares this community." His voice strengthened as he continued. "Your circumstances should inspire you to lead with integrity, not to flaunt your ability to flout the rules." The judge's thunderous yet measured tone resonated deeply, cutting through the CEO's air of invincibility. "You may have the resources to pay these fines, but what about the message you send to those who don't? The law exists for a reason, to establish fairness, equity, and order among all citizens." Each word carried weight, building a narrative that emphasized that true leadership is found in one's willingness to respect and protect the rules that facilitate society's function. As the judge spoke, a murmur spread through the crowd, reflecting their growing indignation toward the CEO. They seemed to witness a confrontation that transcended a mere legal dispute. It became a battle between integrity and entitlement. The contrast was stark. One man at a podium concealed by the curtain of privilege, and another at the bench, embodying the dignity of true justice. Judge Caprio leaned in further, illustrating with clarity the potential chaos that the CEO's mindset could instigate. What if every individual thought like you? Will we have a society where accountability is optional, or where the powerful continue to exploit their influence unchecked? With each question, the judge dismantled the CEO's arguments, unraveling the threads that held up his deluded sense of superiority. The courtroom held its collective breath, waiting for the CEO to reconsider, to grasp the depth of the judge's message. Yet, despite the unfolding reality, the CEO remained resistant, clinging to his belief that his wealth shielded him from facing the repercussions of his actions. "Judge," he said defiantly, "the world is about who you are and what you can do. I shouldn't be punished for achieving success." It was a final stand, a misguided refusal to accept the reality before him, and it only fueled Judge Caprio's resolve. With a steadiness that commanded respect, Caprio responded, "True success is not measured by wealth or power. It's defined by the legacy of integrity you leave behind." Today, I will ensure that legacy reflects accountability. The weight of his words signaled a turning point, one where justice could be served and a lesson imparted, not just to the CEO, but to all who valued fairness in society. With remarkable poise and a twinkle of humor in his eye, Judge Caprio leaned forward, challenging the CEO's arrogance head-on. "You may be successful in business," he said, "but that doesn't give you a free pass in life. The rules we abide by keep our society functioning. They ensure fairness, justice, and equality." His tone, a delicate mix of assertiveness and warmth, commanded the attention of everyone present. The courtroom fell into a hushed silence as the words hung in the air. It was a moment charged with significance. Judge Caprio's voice resonated with authority and compassion, embodying a moral clarity that seemed to transcend the chaotic backdrop of privilege and power. This was not just about parking tickets. It was about the very fabric of society itself and the responsibilities that accompany influence. In a world where many believe that wealth can shield them from accountability, Caprio was there to remind everyone of a fundamental truth: the law applies equally to all. He expertly weaved in anecdotes of individuals from various walks of life, emphasizing that whether one was wealthy or struggling, everyone must navigate the same set of rules. "Think of a hard-working single parent who can barely make ends meet," he continued, his gaze piercing through the CEO's bravado. "Every dollar matters to them, and every rule upheld is a step toward a more just society. You must understand that when you dismiss these rules, you undermine the efforts of those who work tirelessly to follow them." His references resonated deeply, allowing the spectators to visualize the stakes involved. "Imagine if everyone thought the same way you do," Caprio posited, emphasizing the catastrophic consequences. "Total chaos would ensue. You wouldn't want to live in a world like that, would you?" The gravity of his words was palpable, and the crowd began to nod in agreement. Judge Caprio's ability to relate seemingly abstract concepts to everyday experiences made his argument all the more powerful. With every sentence, he chipped away at the CEO's self-righteous facade, peeling back layers of arrogance to reveal the broader implications of his actions. "Every rule and regulation is designed to create a level playing field," he clarified, his eyes not leaving the CEO's. "What happens when those rules are disregarded? You create an environment where those with power feel entitled to manipulate the system, leaving those less fortunate to bear the brunt of unfairness. The very essence of community is lost." As Caprio spoke, the atmosphere in the courtroom shifted. The spectators were captivated, recognizing the importance of accountability in leadership. The judge pressed on, invoking the idea of legacy, an idea that could strike a chord for anyone in a position of power. "What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind?" he asked, letting the question linger in the air. "One of disregard for the law, or one that reflects the principles of respect and integrity?" For a fleeting moment, the CEO appeared to ponder Caprio's challenge, but his pride fought back. "Judge, my success has come with great sacrifice and effort. Why should I be punished for it?" he replied defiantly. The courtroom gasped at the audacity of his statement, highlighting a profound disconnection from the realities faced by most citizens. Judge Caprio recognized that this moment wasn't just about enforcing the law. It was about reaching the individual standing before him, imploring him to see beyond his wealth and status. "Success is not measured merely by what you have, but by who you are and the impact you make on others," Caprio responded gently. "True leaders elevate those around them through their choices. Instead of shielding yourself from accountability, use your success to enrich the community. The real measure of greatness is not how much power you wield, but how responsibly you wield it." The impact of the judge's words hung heavy in the air, and there was a transformative shift brewing within the courtroom. The audience felt a collective sense of hope, witnessing how authority could also embody empathy and understanding. Judge Caprio was not just exerting power. He was inspiring a sense of responsibility, a lesson in humility wrapped up in the language of justice. As the judge prepared to hand down his ruling, the echoes of his impassioned address lingered, leaving behind not only a sense of accountability, but also a seed of reflection that could potentially change the trajectory of a man who desperately needed to be reminded of his societal duties. The courtroom, once defined by tension and arrogance, transformed into a space of enlightenment, a testament to the power of words and the profound responsibility that comes with true leadership. Just when it seemed the CEO might finally grasp the seriousness of Judge Caprio's words, he retaliated with a misguided bravado that further exposed his disconnect from reality. "Judge, do you really think any of this matters?" he declared, a dismissive sneer spreading across his face. "I am untouchable in this world. You think a few fines will change how I operate? I mean, come on, I run one of the largest companies in the region." This arrogant outburst marked a pivotal moment for both the CEO and the courtroom. Judge Caprio, known for his ability to handle such defiance with both compassion and firmness, leaned forward in his chair, his tone shifting from empathetic to resolute. "No, Mr. CEO," the judge said firmly, his voice cutting through the air with conviction. "You are not invincible, and you will face the repercussions of your actions today." This statement hung in the air, laden with a sense of impending accountability. The murmurs that had filled the courtroom fell silent, tension palpable as everyone awaited what would come next. Judge Caprio was not just a figure of authority. He was a healer of societal wounds, and he was prepared to administer a necessary lesson. After a moment of solemnity, the judge continued. With precision, he laid out the full extent of the penalties the CEO would face. "I'm imposing a hefty fine," he announced, his gaze steady and unwavering. "But that's not all. You will also undertake community service, an opportunity for you to give back and truly understand the value of the community you seem to overlook." The CEO's face, once painted with arrogance, quickly turned pale as the weight of the situation descended upon him. His mouth fell slightly agape as he processed the enormity of the judge's ruling. For a man used to throwing around monetary sums to rectify a situation, the concept of community service struck a different chord. It was a form of punishment he had not anticipated, an avenue through which he would be forced to confront the very society he had belittled. "Judge, please wait," he stammered, desperation creeping into his voice. "I can pay the fines. I can donate to charities. Don't you see? I'm already contributing to society in my own way." Judge Caprio's expression remained unfaltering. "This isn't about how much you can throw at a problem," he replied, unfazed by the CEO's pleas. "This is about understanding what it means to be part of a community, to listen, to engage, and to grow as an individual." His words resonated in the quiet courtroom, a truth that the CEO had stubbornly resisted. Caprio continued, emphasizing the importance of humility and responsibility, the lesson far greater than any financial penalty. "You think money can erase your responsibilities, but it can't. What you need now is perspective," he said, leaning closer as if inviting the CEO to truly listen. "This community service will allow you to connect with people who face real struggles every day. It's a chance for you to learn and grow, rather than continuing on the path of arrogance." The courtroom watched as the CEO, stripped of his bravado, began to process this unexpected turn of events. The journey from pride to humility was a long one, and it seemed he was now standing at the threshold, still unsure of what lay ahead. Judge Caprio's ruling was not merely punitive. It was a transformative moment, designed to impart wisdom rather than just serve out a penalty. The judge understood that the road to accountability often began with discomfort and reflection. By laying down this verdict, he was not just enforcing the law. He was fostering a deeper understanding of leadership, responsibility, and the essential role that every citizen plays in a community. As the gavel descended, signaling the end of the proceedings, the room erupted in a low hum of energy. Spectators exchanged glances, some in awe, others in approval, but all were impacted by the message delivered by Judge Caprio. A powerful reminder that no one is above the law and true strength lies in recognizing that accountability is a cornerstone of integrity. The CEO, in his post-hearing reflection, would have to grapple with this new reality, perhaps paving the way for growth he had never anticipated. The judge's lesson had been planted, inviting the hope of change and fostering a commitment to responsibility and respect for the community. As the gavel fell, signaling the end of the proceedings, the courtroom erupted into murmurs. It was a moment ripe with significance, a standoff between privilege and accountability transformed into a powerful demonstration of justice. Judge Caprio stood as a beacon of fairness, his presence a reminder to everyone present that integrity matters more than status in the eyes of the law. The CEO, who had entered the courtroom cloaked in arrogance, walked away with far more than just a monetary fine. He had encountered a moment of humility that could, if he allowed it, help reshape his perspective on leadership and responsibility. In the days that followed, clips from the courtroom made waves across social media platforms, going viral as individuals shared and commented on the judge's poignant words and principled stance. Many praised Judge Caprio for his unwavering commitment to justice, highlighting his ability to connect with people from all walks of life. His blend of authority and empathy seeped through the screens, making him a relatable figure to all who watched. People were captivated by how a single courtroom encounter could provoke widespread discussions about fairness, accountability, and the responsibilities that come with privilege. The story of the CEO's confrontation with the law served as a stark reminder that everyone, regardless of their social standing, must adhere to the rules that govern society. In a world often marked by a chasm between the powerful and the everyday citizen, this incident illuminated the universal truth that no one is above the law. Judge Caprio's words reached far beyond the walls of the courtroom, resonating with countless individuals who may have felt overlooked or voiceless in the face of authority. As spectators shared their thoughts online, the collective sentiment revealed an encouraging shift in public discourse. Individuals were inspired to engage in conversations about equity, with many reflecting on the privileges they held and the responsibilities that accompanied them. The incident propelled a movement toward accountability, with more people realizing that true justice resides in fairness, not favoritism. Judge Caprio's defense of justice was about more than just enforcing penalties. It was about raising awareness and fostering a culture of responsibility. Those who watched the proceedings were reminded that the nuances of privilege should never obscure one's moral obligations to the community. As conversations flowed through social media and local communities, a renewed commitment to fairness and equity began to cultivate. In reflecting on this incident, we are left with a powerful message. In a world where the affluent often believe they can transcend the law, it is essential to champion fairness and equity for all. Judge Caprio's ruling was not just a legal decision. It served as a moral compass for individuals to evaluate the choices they make in life. It sparked discussions about societal responsibilities and the importance of standing by one's principles, particularly when faced with temptation to do otherwise. So, as we navigate our lives in a society that values fairness, let's remember that no one is above the law. The true measure of a person lies not in their wealth or status, but in their ability to respect and abide by the rules that bind us all together. Each of us has a role to play in ensuring that accountability is upheld, that justice is served, and that the ideals of integrity and equality flourish in our communities. Judge Caprio's poignant reminder will undoubtedly continue to echo in the hearts and minds of many, guiding the way toward a more just and equitable society for future generations.